But just understand this is what it's there for, to make sure that you don't go into financial ruin, to make sure that the people and things you're responsible for, that you can maintain that in the event of the unexpected.
Welcome to the Rich Auntie Podcast. Your host, Kia Valentine, will guide you on your journey to financial freedom, business success, and a luxurious lifestyle. Get ready for expert tips, inspiring stories, and practical advice to help you live your richest life. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rich Auntie Podcast. I'm Kia Valentine, your host and favorite Rich Auntie. In today's episode, we're going to dive into a powerful concept that many people take for granted: building a peace of mind fund. Too often, we focus on accumulating wealth or investing, building our financial assets. But an important part of building wealth is protecting your peace. Imagine knowing that no matter what life throws your way, or at least the majority of what life throws your way, you are financially prepared to weather those storms. Well, that is what a peace of mind fund is all about. It's about creating financial stability to help you live a life of less stress and more confidence. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about what a peace of mind fund is, why it's essential, how you can start building yours today, and where you should keep it. So let's begin. What is a peace of mind fund? Well, a peace of mind fund, some people refer to it as an emergency fund or as a rainy day fund. Now, let me tell you, I am not about that life. I don't like thinking about emergencies or rainy days. I'm the person that loves being out in the sun. I love the sunshine. And although I know life doesn't go that way, because obviously there's seasons for everything, I like to think of it more in a positive way, in my opinion. So I like to think of it giving me peace. And that is what a peace of mind fund does. So it is an amount of money that is put aside for those balls life throws us every once in a while. So I kind of look at it as like a financial cushion for the unexpected. Everyone should have a peace of mind fund. No matter who you are, no matter where you are in your financial life, you should have a peace of mind fund first and foremost before anything else. And so let's talk about why it's essential. Number one, it reduces stress. Okay. Now imagine if you, let's say, lost your job, or there's a death, your partner passes away, or you're suffering from a major health issue. How different would life be if you had something set aside to make sure that you could at least cover some, if not all, of those expenses? I know they're pretty big expenses, but it would be less stressful. It would definitely be less stressful. So having a peace of mind fund is essential for that. Also, your freedom of choices. So if you have a peace of mind fund, you are going to definitely make different choices, and you have many more options. You're not as limited as someone who doesn't. For example, let's say you wanted to take time off from what you're currently doing. You just need a break, okay? You could take that off without the financial stresses and pressures of thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to eat this week, or how am I going to eat next month? You know what I mean? So it helps with you being able to make those types of choices. Maybe you want to start a new venture. Maybe it's a business idea that you have and you always wanted to start. So it's just going to give you the ability to have more freedom in your choices. And lastly, you can focus on wealth building, like true wealth building. Many times people can't focus on long-term strategies because of their short-term needs. Every time they try to put one foot forward, they have to take 10 steps back. So this is going to allow you to focus on long-term strategies like investing, like growing your financial assets, and not having to worry about the near future, You can stretch things out into the distant future. That gives you more time to be able to truly build wealth and to accumulate the wealth that you need in order to create the lifestyle that you want. Maybe you're a business owner and you need to focus on building your business. This is going to allow you to truly focus on growing that business without thinking of the short-term needs of your personal life, which is good. You can definitely scale and accelerate that business a lot faster and with less stress. Now let's talk about how to build this peace of mind fund. And you may want to write these things down. This is definitely a step-by-step process. The first thing you want to do is assess your situation, assess your needs. How much is it that you need in order to take care of your basic necessities, your essentials? That's your mortgage or your rent. That's your groceries, your utilities, your insurances like life insurance, health insurance, those types of things. How much money do you spend on those things every single month? Now you need to assess your risk. And how I like to look at this and how it helps me to assess this and to assess my client's risk is if you were to lose your, let's say, all of your sources of income today, right? If you were to lose it today, what are you responsible for? And who are you responsible for? If you are a person that is single, it's just you're responsible for yourself. You don't really have that many assets or you're not responsible for many things, then maybe you could save up about 3 months of those basic necessities. If you're someone like myself who has a family, who's responsible for different businesses, then you want to think more long term. You may want to hit the 6-month to 12-month amount of savings. So what you would do is you already assessed your situation. You know how much it takes to support your basic necessities every single month, and you would times that by 3, 6, or 12. And it could be any number of months, but 3, 6, or 12 just to give you a framework. It's just a matter of how much do you need to feel secure. That is something that is unique to every single person. If you're a business owner as well, you definitely need at least 12 months minimum because you have to think about your family and you also have to think about your business. So your business also needs its own peace of mind fund. Okay, so once you know your goal, then you at least know how much you're going to be working towards saving every month. But your first step before you even start the budgeting and all of that stuff is you need to save at least $2,000. Okay? You need to save at least $2,000 as fast as you possibly can. This is what I call your starting point. If you don't have a peace of mind fund as yet, this is where you need to start. This isn't necessarily about budgeting or anything because it's just you accumulating it as fast as possible by any means necessary, however it is that you need to accumulate it. There was a time that most financial experts would recommend your starting point to be $1,000. But honey, today with inflation, just diminishing the purchasing power of the dollar, $1,000 is just not going to cut it as a starting point. The goalpost has been moved. You need to start at least $2,000. Now, once you get that $2,000 as quickly as possible, now you could create a budget. Now you could say what percentage of your money you're going to accumulate every month towards your peace of mind fund. This comes after accumulating that $2,000 as soon as you possibly can. You already know what your expenses are every month, at least your essentials. You also need to take into account of what you're spending on non-essentials and miscellaneous items. And now you can create a budget from that. Now you know which percentage of your income you're going to put towards that fund. And once you know that, the next step, and this is so critical to creating a peace of mind fund, is you need to automate. You need to automate it. I say it's taking you out of the equation. It's taking the human conditioning and the human psychology out of the equation because many of you know that if you were not to automate this, that you would spend that money and you would absolutely not what we call pay yourself first. So this is paying yourself first, meaning that before you pay the light bill and the grocery bill and get new shoes and whatever it is that you buy, you're going to pay yourself first. I mean, come on, your blood, sweat, and tears, you work too hard not to pay yourself. Why should you pay everyone else? Why should you give your hard-earned money to every single person before you pay yourself? I always look at it as you pay yourself first and then you figure out the rest. And some of you may say, but Kia, I don't have enough money at the end of the month. Like, I always have enough money at the end of the money. I don't have it to be able to pay myself first. So what do you mean? Like, how can I possibly do this? Listen, you need to get creative and you need to get resourceful. But the point here is that you have to make yourself a priority. You have to make your peace of mind fund a priority. And then you use your creativity, your resourcefulness, your work ethic, and you figure out how to pay all the other stuff that you need to pay. This is going to force you to level up in your financial life, because obviously those things are essentials, but so is paying yourself first. You need to automate that. So as soon as it hits your account, it needs to go into a different account, okay? And that's the no touch account. But the point here is you're automating it because you don't want to spend it before you have a chance to put it aside. Make sure that you pay you before you pay everyone else. You work too darn hard, all right? Now, it does not have to be a large percentage every month. You already saved up your $2,000, whether it's 10%, whether even if you have to start at 5%, whatever it is that you're starting at, you're just building that habit. You build that habit, and over time, it becomes a norm for you. It becomes easier for you, and you don't even have to think about it because it's automated. But start somewhere, even if you start small. Never underestimate the point of starting small. Never underestimate it. I know so many people, they think of, the big picture, and they never end up doing anything. So the point here is to make this something that is so important that it has to get done, even if you start off with a little bit. Over time, your next step will be to reassess those needs, because has your lifestyle changed? Like, what is different? Maybe you need to add to that amount. Maybe you can save more. Maybe you figured out a way to make more income and you can now start putting more aside. So another key point is to reassess. Figure out, okay, this is where I was a year ago. Today I'm here. I need to up this peace of mind fund, and then go ahead and do that. Some of my clients would ask me, how do I know when I could stop contributing to this peace of mind fund? When you get to your goal. Now, you may have different goals going on as well, and that is completely fine. Maybe you're allocating funds for your investment. Maybe you're allocating funds for, a family vacation or whatever the case may be. You can absolutely do all of these things at the same time once you have saved up that $2,000 starting point, but you just have to make sure that that percentage is in there. Anything over the amount that your target is or your goal is, anything over that can now be distributed to all of the other buckets or funds that you have for different things. So building a peace of mind fund is like building Rome. It was not built in a day. Okay, it takes time. So don't think that every single dollar you have has to go into this peace of mind fund. No, you have to live life. You have non-negotiables. Like, I was just speaking to a client, and one of her non-negotiables is her family has pizza every Friday night. That is something that she's not willing to negotiate. So obviously her peace of mind fund would probably be a little bit less because she wants to fulfill this goal that is a non-negotiable goal for her family, and that is completely fine. You have to take your lifestyle into account as well. But the point here is that you're doing it over time. You're not building it all at once. This is something you're automating, and it's something that, is going to come together. It's not going to happen in the blink of an eye. Okay. And when those, let's say, emergencies or inconveniences in life do show up and you have to use that peace of mind fund, just understand that is what it is there for. That is the whole point of your peace of mind fund. So use it to get whatever it is you need to get sorted out. And then after that, start replenishing it, start building it up again. This is something that is going to continuously be drained and continuously be filled up. So don't think that you failed just because you had to use it. I know some people, they're like, man, I worked so hard on this peace of mind fund and here I am spending it because I need to pay my mortgage or whatever. That is what it's there for. Maybe they lost their job or whatever. That is what it's there for. One of my family members, her daughter got sick. And she had like over $11,000 saved up and she had to spend it all for her child, like major surgeries and all of that stuff. And guess what? It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. She had to completely drain that account. But that is what it was there for. After that, she started working towards replenishing it. But just understand, this is what it's there for, to make sure that you don't go into financial ruin, to make sure that the people and things you're responsible for, that you can maintain that in the event of the unexpected. Now, let's talk about where to keep this peace of mind fund. I get this question all the time, and I want you to remember 4 things. I use the acronym LESS, LESS, like less is more. And so whatever product or whatever account you're keeping this peace of mind fund in, you need to know that it needs to be liquid. That's the L. It needs to be easily accessible. That's the E. It needs to be separate from all of your other accounts. That's the one of the S's. And it needs to be safe from market volatility. Okay, so it needs to be liquid, easily accessible, separate, and safe. Once you remember those 4 things, you could pretty much not go wrong when you're trying to figure out where this money should go. So anytime you consider putting this money in an account, ask yourself, is it liquid? Is it easily accessible? Is it safe from market volatility? And is it separate from all of my other funds? If it meets that criteria, you're good. So some people keep it in their high yield savings account. That's a pretty decent place to keep it. Some people, a money market, cool. A CD, the thing about a CD or a certificate of deposit, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. A certificate of deposit is when you put money in the bank holds it, they pay you interest on the money that they're holding, but they're holding it for a certain time period. So that time period may be, let's say 12 months, for example, a year. That is not easily accessible because in order for you to get that money, you have to break that CD or you have to terminate prematurely. And the last thing you want to do is break a CD because there's fees that come with breaking it before the time is up. Okay. And so you don't want to have a situation where you need that money, you have to get it, and you have to give up a portion of it because you have to pay fees. So something that you can access easily. I like to keep mine in my life insurance policy. Many people don't know that life insurance policies have a saving component to it, where your money is going to grow tax deferred or tax-free, depending on how you're going to access that money. I like to access mine tax-free, obviously, but it gives you that opportunity to be able to get your money back, like in a short period of time, about 3 business days. So anything, I think within 3 business days, 3, 2, 1 is good. A savings account, you'd be able to just transfer it right away. A money market, probably the same thing. A life insurance policy, about 3 business days. Okay, so you have to take that into account. But I keep a portion in a savings account and then I keep the rest in my policy. So for the small inconveniences, I could just access it from my savings account. But for the major inconveniences, then I can go right into my policy and request it. No questions asked. They don't care what I need it for. It's my money and I can access it. And if you want to understand more about life insurance, insurance, and how you could leverage the infinite banking concept to take advantage of your financial future and accelerate your wealth, check out my free lifestyle banking course. So it should be somewhere in the description or the show notes. Click the link so that you could learn more. This is something that I help my clients implement. I design the policies for them. I'm also their lifelong coach in the infinite banking concept and how that works. So absolutely check it out. That way you could understand different products. A lot of the times is what we don't know that hurts us. It is always good to level up your strategies. Always good to level up what you're doing with your money. And so definitely check that out. All right, so we're nearing the end of this episode today, and I just want to do a quick overview of how you build a peace of mind fund. The first thing you need to do is assess your needs. What is it that you need to cover those essential bills? The next thing you need to do is save up $2,000 as soon as possible. Once you do that, then you could create a budget and figure out what percentage of your income you're going to send to that account every single month that is separate from where you keep your main income. Automate, automate, automate. After that, you need to reassess your lifestyle. You need to reassess where you are. You can do it quarterly. You could do it biannually, annually. I like to do it at least quarterly. Depending on your situation and how complicated your finances are, you may definitely want to do it quarterly as well. And now you know where you can keep your peace of mind fund to maximize on the earning potential and also to have accessibility and safe from market volatility. That is a big one, because the last thing you want to do is have that peace of mind fund in like something like stocks. Stocks go up and down. In the event that you need that money and the stock market just took a hit, or the company you're invested in just took a hit and you have to use that money, you're going to be at a loss. You're going to have to use it at a loss. So you never want to have your peace of mind fund in stocks or any other investment. That also includes real estate, because it's not easily accessible. You can't sell a house at the drop of a dime. So the last thing you want to do is need that money, and in order to get it, you need to sell a whole house, okay? That would not be where you need to keep your peace of mind fund. So remember the acronym LESS, LESS, is a liquid. Liquid meaning it's cash, or could be converted into cash readily without losing its market value at the time. It is, what's the E? It is easily accessible. It's easily accessible, meaning you could get it within 1 to 3 business days. It is safe from market volatility. I just covered that. And it is also separate from where you have your money. Do not commingle, like put it in a separate account. That way you can not think about how you're going to use it to buy something that you really want. We also talked about how you need to become more creative and resourceful in your everyday life to figure things out if you want to be able to pay yourself first. All right, so that's it for how you build a peace of mind fund. I really hope that you got value today. If you did, please leave a review. It helps me get the word out. It helps other people find the show, and it helps me be of service to the world. And so thank you. I appreciate all of you who have left reviews so far, and those of you who will do in the future. I appreciate you so much helping me share this podcast. Building a peace of mind fund is one of the greatest investments you can make for your financial and mental well-being. At the end of the day, the fact that you have it, you'll be able to walk more secure in your life, and you'll just be so grateful that you made it a priority. Whether you are just starting out on your wealth building journey, or whether you've already achieved financial success, I mean, this is just a key part of building wealth. And this is something that every single person should have. When my clients come to me and I ask them about their peace of mind fund, if they don't have that, that is one of the first things that we start working on. That's just how essential it is to your overall well-being. Thanks for tuning into another episode of the Rich Auntie Podcast. I really hope you got value. Don't forget to check out my free course on lifestyle banking, and also sign up for my mailing list, because you want to be up to date with what's going on in the Rich Auntie community. Until next time, continue to stay rich in mind, body, and spirit. This is your favorite Rich Auntie signing out.
Thanks for listening to the Rich Auntie Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Follow us on social media for more tips and exclusive content. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you deserve to live your richest life.